Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Success Navigation. My name is Haseeb, the founder of Brankit, and today I am here with Steven Selikoff. I was like kind of contacting him for a very long time, and finally he's here to talk with us. So just a very brief intro about Steven. His introduction can go on and on, but just a brief introduction. He's the founder of Product Development Academy, and in past he has worked at Microsoft as well. So Steve, I would like you to continue and start with a little bit about your background and introduction, and just kind of give a brief about what you have been through in your career and how it all actually started for you.
Great. Well, I've always loved selling things. In fact, I first started selling things as a kid in 1973. And once you get the bug, you never get rid of it. Excuse me for coughing. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, no problem.
I came up here to Seattle in 2001 when I was recruited by Microsoft. And one of the things that I picked up was glass blowing, a fascinating, very, very old hobby. I'm terrible at it, but I'm able to make some basic shapes and figures. And a woman I was seeing was a buyer for a major retail chain. We were at a weekend near here where they have a lot of lavender fields, and she walked into some of these gift shops and started talking to them about me. And the next thing I knew, she had arranged for me to be the provider of lavender. Here we go. Of lavender balls, little souvenirs, and so on. So I had no idea, but she understood all about selling and retailers and products and so on. And I learned a tremendous amount from her. And I made a lot of money selling these lavender colored glass balls. So as I grew within Microsoft, eventually I was global business manager for Microsoft worldwide retail sales and marketing. Oh my goodness, it's a bad day for me this morning. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, I was growing my own businesses selling products. In 2005, I started on Amazon. And up here in Seattle, people work one company another. They switch back and forth. So friends of mine were at Amazon, and they knew that I had complained about my warehouse and so on. In 2006, in the summer, they told me, we're starting a brand new division where we'll actually do the fulfillment for you. So they launched in September. In October, I was one of the very first people to sign up for fulfillment by Amazon. And I loved it. It was very different back then. In fact, funnily, as a funny story, they gave you a selection of colors, and they would do a whole a storefront for you. But those colors were terrible. I chose an orange and something color, obviously Amazon. But I had to change the color scheme of my entire existing website to match it so I could match what Amazon was giving me for free. They don't give away anything for free anymore.
Yeah,
But back then
we
was
all know that.
a different world. It was another 10 years after that before Helium-10 came out. So this was back in the wild days. You could put anything up on Amazon and it would sell. PPC was an option. Not many people did it at all. I got into Amazon Vendor. I paid them $400 a month, and they did whatever promotions they wanted to do for me. I was making them a bunch of money. I was making a bunch of money. And at the same time, I was taking my products. That was Easy Diet Labels. This next one, the pillowcase product, I got into Bed Bath & Beyond, which is a big retailer here. That was my first one on the Today Show, which is a major morning show. Now I've had products on every major morning show, in almost every major newspaper across the world. I've even had products in the gift bags of the Oscars. I love creating products. I love selling products. Um, and I love other people doing the same. It's
Yeah,
absolutely incredible when somebody buys your product. It's like, wow, that's something that I planned. That's something I designed. That's a differentiation that I figured out, and they liked it, and they put money down. Oh, that's the best thing ever.
yeah, I was seeing one of your like testimonial kind of, or from a review from one of your um, product development, like a person for which you developed the products. He was selling. He was like nominated in the Shark Tank as well. So that is kind of, a huge, like when someone is selling your products and you have developed and work with them. I think that is kind of a different feeling. So that is where I will come to the product development academy, and I would like to know more about it, like what actually you are doing there and how you are helping other people to sell online and maybe offline in the retail.
Excellent. Well, I have two major types of training programs or events. One is Product Development Academy, and that is a course, but it's structured as a month to month to month subscription. So you stay with it as long as you need. It is based on, here we go, this, which is a small book I wrote during COVID, and I'm in the middle of actually updating it right now so we can do an Audible version. It's now used in major university as upper level course, and basically it breaks down all the basics of developing a product that people want that you can make money from. Now, Amazon is fabulous because it's opened up the ability for thousands and thousands and thousands of people to sell, but it's just a platform. It's
Yeah,
not a guarantee of success. You have to have a product that people are willing to buy. In fact, you have to have it. And this is what I talk about in the book, and this is the structure of the book. It has to be a product that people want and a product people are willing to pay for. So let me give you an example of that. There's a Porsche. Porsche came out with an SUV. Everything they did, they put in front of customers. They asked customers, do you want this? Are you willing to pay for it? And if the customers didn't want it, they didn't put it in. If they wanted it and were willing to pay for it, they put it in. When they launched the Cayenne, it was immediately a success. Within 10 years, it was responsible for half the profits of the company. So we take that same thing. It's WTP Edge is the development model, and we follow that in Product Development Academy. We help you make sure that your product is something people want. Sometimes that means extending your research beyond just the typical tools you're used to. We make sure it's a price that people want to pay. And then we help you understand what price you need to be paying your supplier so that you can make
a
profits.
profit.
We take you through the design stage. We take you through shipping. We take you through warehousing. We take you through distribution, and we take you through sales online on Amazon. I love Amazon. I'm here in Seattle. If you were here, I'd have you come here for lunch or dinner. You could look out the window and see Amazon 75 stories below us. So yeah, online and Amazon, but also retailers, because in the US, still almost 9 out of 10 products are bought in stores. Um, and for anyone who is watching this that has never come to the US, when you do come, and I hope everyone visits at least once in their life, take a day away from all the tourist things and go into stores. You're going to be amazed at what US stores are like. Whenever I travel, I go into stores, whatever country I'm in. And every country, every culture, every person, family treats it differently. But in the US, People are obsessed with going to stores and buying. So it's an interesting thing to remember that Amazon is a platform, so is Walmart.com, so
Yeah.
is Shopify, so is Etsy. And once you get to the States and you understand stores, so are our stores. If you can be successful across all of those, you can be, if you could, excuse me, if you can be successful in one, you can be successful across all of them. So that's the Product Development Academy. We teach that, as I say, it's a month to month. So you come and you join, and every month you continue as long as you need as we take you through all of those steps. And then also twice a year, now that China's opened up again, we have the Canton Fair trip. So right now, because it's 2023, it's Canton Fair 2023. Next year, it'll be Canton Fair 2024. And in that, we have a sourcing trip where you come to China for the Canton Fair, and we teach you there. And we teach you all sorts of things that you may not have learned before then. And then we take you to the fair and we help you. We help you source. We help you negotiate with suppliers. We actually teach you negotiation in the classroom. Then we take you to a factory. And at the
Great.
factory, you get to understand what the operations are behind the scenes. So you understand what your conversations are with the retailers when you're at the fair. And then you actually get to shadow me as I go around and I'll negotiate with real retailers right in front of you. You get to see what those conversations are like. And then in addition, we also have some unique things, like we visit the port of Guangzhou. I thought it was the sixth largest port. I've been corrected. It's the fourth largest port in the world. So we have
Great.
VIP access there. If you have an option, you can go to 𝐅𝐢𝐧𝐝𝐢𝐧𝐿, which is another great place for sourcing. But the goal is, now that China's open, to get back to sourcing in China. Remember, profits begin with the product. PPC, listing, all of that, that's going to make your sales increase. But if you're
Yeah.
only breaking even, let's say you're doing 10 a day and you're breaking even, you increase your sales to 20 a day, you're still breaking even. You just have to put more money down for inventory because you're selling twice as much. Now, if you turn around and you start at the product end where you first source and you make sure your product is profitable, now selling 10 a day, making $5 a unit, great. That's $50 a day. Before, you were breaking even. When you double that, that's $100 a day. Now you're looking at, what is that? 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month, and then $36,000 a year. That's one product to another product, another product. Suddenly, you're doing very, very well. It starts with the product being profitable.
Yeah, I
So
think that is
that's a
like,
big, long answer. I'm sorry for that.
no, no, I think that was all like a sum up discussion around the Product Development Academy and actually how it is shaping like the whole, all components of the retail together. I would like to dig down a little bit deeper into the product development part. So, in the current market environment, like what exactly is your criteria of, or maybe not a criteria, like what is your current process with the sellers that are joining your program, and like what kind of price points and categories you are targeting, or you leave them to the sellers, like whatever they are interested in, and then you work around with them to make that product happen. Or I just want to know
It
a little
is,
bit
yeah,
more of that stage.
it is whatever product and niche that you want. And I have a small program, so it's a wide range of niches and products. But the
Hmm.
criteria, as you yourself pointed out, the criteria is critical. And it's simple. It has to be something that is profitable. That means a 7x multiplier, and that people want. A 7x multiplier sounds scary to people. That means that you're selling it for 7 times more than what your purchasing it from suppliers. But that really is not crazy difficult. The more you differentiate, the more you focus on yours being different than anyone else's, the more you have the ability to bring that price down. So
Mm.
I'll use an example here. All right. So let's do this. Here we go. This is a little thing that I use for brushing off the keyboard. If you made one just like this, and even worse, let's say that someone sent out an email saying the hot item for this month is little brushes to brush off the keyboard. Then when you talk to your supplier and they tell you it's going to be $3 a unit, and you tell them, no, I need to have it $1 unit, they don't care. They don't
Yeah.
care because there's 25 people behind you who are all willing to pay $3 a unit. And if you say no, they can sell to the next person. And then when all of those people sell on Amazon or Etsy or in stores or whatever, they're all competing for price now. And they're
Yeah.
all start losing money because they all have the exact same thing. But let's say, and these were trending a few years ago. I don't know if they're still trending, but let's say you take one of those little vacuums, keyboard vacuums that you plug into your USB port, and you attach it so it goes through the hole in the top. And now you've got a brush and a vacuum combination. No one else has that. Now, when you have the conversation with your supplier, they don't have anyone else lined up behind you offering the same thing. And now they're looking at that saying, well, that's interesting. The criteria is something that's profitable. So you want to make sure that's the right price. And that's something people want.
Hmm.
So that means you should already know what the demand is. You should already have your strategy of where you want to be. And now your discussion with the supplier is, we've done a lot of research on this. People these days with smoke in the air, there's more dust on their keyboards and their screens. We project in 2 years' time, we're going to be at 4 containers a quarter. In order to get there, in the next 6 months, we plan to be launching online in the US. In the next 12 months, we want to have 4 different variations in colors. In the next 18 months, we want to expand out to Germany, Japan, Canada, whatever. And that's our plan to be there in 2 months. Now that supplier wants to work with you. They see
Exactly.
that you know what you're doing. They want to work with you, and your price is going to be a fraction of everybody else's.
Yeah, that is actually, kind of a strategy where you are building kind of a relationship with the supplier, showing him your like overall strategy about that product. Most of the people that are started selling on Amazon, they just, kind of run through Helium 10 search results and kind of figure out some sales, and they just directly approach the supplier without figuring out that long term strategy of the business. So I think that is where people have crowded Amazon a lot, and they are not really thinking about getting a right product and scaling it through multiple channels.
Profits begin with products. It
Yeah.
really does, and the right product can get you there. And a product like I just described, since no one else is, well, I don't know if people are doing it, but in this scenario, uh, I'm saying no one else would be doing it. Now you can get the right price.
Yep.
Um, let me go on a tangent from what we originally talked about, but just talking about pricing from your suppliers. Whatever you purchase from any supplier, any country, any product, anywhere, that product costs the same thing to a supplier. It costs 3 things: time, labor, materials. That's it.
Yep.
And yet, so many Amazon sellers, the first conversations they have with suppliers is the suppliers ask, where are you selling? And what's your quantity? The very first conversations they have are about MOQ. I had a program in Las Vegas teaching people how to sell to retailers, and I had a Chinese factory owner come in and talk to the people in the class. And someone asked about MOQs and MOVs, and he said to them, "If you ask me about MOQ, I'm going to raise the price on you because his cost is time, labor, and materials. The only thing that MOQ is involved in is sometimes there's an investment at his end about, they have to buy a certain amount of plastic pallets that have a certain, I don't know, a certain pigment in them. Or if it's cloth, they have to buy an industrial sized roll of cloth. If it's something that requires a mold, there's an upfront cost for a mold. But machinery, time, labor, and materials, they don't want to put their all of their workers on a whole day starting up machinery and then doing 15 minutes of
Yeah.
production and taking it all down again. But it's not part of their cost. It should not be part of the negotiation. Neither is where do you sell it. It doesn't matter if you're selling it at your neighborhood market, or if you're selling it on Etsy, or if you're selling it on Amazon, or if you're selling it, um, out of the back of a truck. That doesn't change the cost to the supplier. Their cost is always time, labor, and materials. So why are they asking you where do you sell it? They're asking you that, and they're asking you how much of a quantity you're going to buy because they're trying to make a judgment. What they know is if they charge you less than time, labor's material, they're going to lose money. So what they do is they take time, labor, material, they add on whatever operational costs they have to make sure that they're able to stay in business, and then they add on the profit. And how much profit? Whatever they can get away with. They make that judgment call from how you answer those questions. So instead of saying things like, I'm a very, very big company, and my boss is the company, and I'm just working for him, and I need to get a price. And they know you're lying, and they're going to raise the price up for that because they see the same videos everyone else does. So they're going to take things and raise it up. They know that a lot of Amazon sellers are unsophisticated at doing business in China. They know that if someone in China says um, prices go up, that most Amazon sellers will simply accept that. They'll never try to push back or anything else. They know that sometimes Amazon sellers overextend themselves. They're bad credit risks. So if they say, where do you sell? And you say, I sell on Amazon, they're going to push the price up. They know that Amazon sellers sometimes don't do their homework. They don't do their research. So they don't
Yeah.
understand things like shipping. So the Amazon seller says, I want to ship DDP. They immediately know that someone didn't do their homework. They're going to push the price up. You're a business. Understand what the particular best shipping is for you. Just don't choose it because it's easy. Understand what product you want to do and understand who's going to buy it and what price you need to sell. Don't just jump into anything because you're tired of doing your research. Treat it like a business. And then when you go for your supplier, let them know that you're serious. And that too will end up with lower prices because reality is, I think everyone who's ever looked online, Alibaba is a great example, made in China, global sources. They say, but this says $3 a unit, and now they're telling me it's going to be $5 a unit. Why is that? Well, it's normal. Everybody expects that. No, it's not. Not everybody expects it. I guarantee you that probably 9 out of 10 Amazon sellers, if we sat down and we both talked to the exact same supplier, we would get different prices. Why? Because they're making judgments about each person and where their business is going to go and how much money they can make. So I know I took this off on a tangent, but it all comes back to making sure that you know what you're doing. You don't skimp on doing the homework and the research. Get it done, and you'll do better.
Yeah, I think yeah, that was like again a very important point on the supplier negotiation side. Like we mostly don't focus on building that relation and bringing in those numbers, but we just go with a very basic calculation and find easy way out to get things done, and then we end up having a lot of cost in cogs, and we don't make the profit. So then we try some other ways either to make it profitable through some other ways, and then it not work for us as a business. So I think that is
You are
overall it all.
100% spot on.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where, I personally see most of Amazon sellers are lacking because they got into the business somehow, and now they are like not very sure about the components of where they are losing the money. So definitely I agree with whatever you said about the supplier part especially. And coming like taking the point from here to another important factor, like Amazon is one sales channel, as you said. We have multiple channels where we can sell our products. So talking about the retail part especially in US, like how do you approach that and how do you study their numbers? Or do you just make the call in the very first step where you study the customer and then you apply it to all the sales channels? Like I would like to know a little bit more about the retailer part, especially the stores.
It's challenging if you haven't been in the stores in the US.
Hmm.
Um, but the information is out there. There's actually more information about what sells in stores in the US than there is for Amazon. Amazon only exposes one API, and Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Zone Grew all have to pull from that. Um, but for retail stores, there's a lot of information out there. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of it has to be paid for. But if you're making an investment into your business, you can
Hmm.
certainly get that. Um, More importantly, however, is, and you said it yourself, is the customer. Is
Yeah.
this something that somebody wants? You cannot differentiate because you think it's a good idea or I think it's a good idea. You have to differentiate in a way that customers want. And here is a wonderful tool that a lot of people don't think about for this, but use PickFu. If you're selling in the US, the people that PickFu poll are in the US, and you can ask them, what are you looking for in whatever niche you're looking for? Um, I have a question for dog owners. What's your biggest pain point as a dog owner that you can't find a solution for online? Now you're in the pet niche, which is incredibly good niche. And dogs, which everyone in the US is passionate about their dogs. In my state, Washington state, there are more people with dogs in the house than babies in the house. Um, so all you've done is you've put it out there. You don't do the 50, do the 100, 200, 300 if you have to. Just ask
Yeah.
people, you know, dog owners, what is a pain point that you have that you can't find a solution for in stores? And they'll start talking about things. And now you've got great products. So start off with the customers, know the customers. Join Facebook groups about dogs and let people talk about. Um, I used to have a little pug dog. Pug dogs, they get a little mark on their mouth if they eat or drink water from a plastic bowl.
Hmm.
So for pug dogs with their big broad face, a a broader ceramic bowl is something that's wonderful and perfect for pug owners. You would know that if you're in a pug dog Facebook group. So get to know your customers. You are 100% correct on that. Get to
Yeah.
know your customers. Just don't find a product on a tool that you know nothing about, that you're not a customer for, or you don't know anything about the customers.
Yeah, I was, talking with a Chinese seller, and they were like selling earphones, very simple earphones, and they were like testing around. You can say on one product they were spending around $10,000 to $12,000 just on PickFu to test the products around, and then they will just go off if the product was not working. And it can save you a lot in the longer run, where you will launch a product with like $20,000-$30,000 maybe, and then you will call off inventory, maybe sell it, or just liquidate it. And in first step, if you make it right, you can save a lot in terms of money. So I totally agree. And like coming to my original question from where it started, so are you referring to like some research papers which are available online to study the local retail of US and get numbers out of it to compare it with your product, or is there any kind of other source as well?
So there are a number of sources out there. The simplest way is to start off with Statista,
It's yeah.
STATISTA.com. Um, and you start there because they collate from a number of different sources. There are sources like Nielsen IQ, which you have to pay for. But in a store, um, every time you have a product and it beeps at the store, in the US, it goes into their point of sale system, but it also sends data to Nielsen IQ, every single product that's scanned. So they can tell you that um, keyboard brushes, that the sales increase every spring and decrease every January. I don't know if they do, but there's a great example. They can give you all of that information. They can tell you how many are sold and so on. And it's more than just an Amazon. We're talking in all of the retailers across the US. So do your research. Statista is a great place to start. See where those articles are, because different types of products will come from articles will come from different things. I just mentioned dogs. So from dogs, you might have information coming from, and I swear this is a real magazine, Modern Dog Magazine. You're not going to find out about kitchenware in Modern Dog Magazine.
Yeah.
Um, if it's something that's a gift item, you might find out information from Gift Beat. You're not going to find it out from something else. But start with Statista because they bring all of that in. And then there are industry organizations. So I'm trying to think of an industry organization. Hair care, obviously not something I do a lot of, but but there's a lot of hair care industry that can tell you that um, the trending thing in hair care is to add collagen to the formulation because people
Yeah.
like adding collagen, and they talk about it in there. So start on Statista, see where they are getting their information from, and then start tracking down those particular industry or consumer magazines that fit
Yeah.
that niche and that product, and get your information. And of course, again, join Facebook groups. Here's a
Yeah.
great example. Um, if you're in a Facebook group, if you took your Helium 10 or Jungle Scout and you went through and you looked at karate belts, and I'm not a karate person, but I certainly know that there are karate black belts and brown belts and green belts and purple belts, yellow belts, white belts. Maybe there's an orange belt. I don't know. Um, but if I didn't know anything about karate belts and I look that up on Jungle Scout or Helium 10 and it says there's a great demand for belts, and I would say, aha, I'm smart. I'm going to differentiate and I'm going to make a rainbow colored karate belt. And then nobody buys it. Why? Because the colors mean specific things. It's not just
Yeah.
trying to do something different. But even though I'm not a karate person, if I join a karate Facebook group, I'll quickly learn that people are talking about their yellow belts, their brown belts, their green belts, their so and so. And I'll quickly learn that there is no place for a rainbow colored belt. Um, and I would not be making that mistake. So always, always, always try to find Facebook groups that fit your niche. Get in there. Even if you're just going to lurk around and listen, you'll learn a lot.
Great. I think this sums up everything. I kind of looks into statistica quite a lot, and And when I talk to people, like they don't actually know that this website actually exists. So this is like really helpful, and I have never used the paid version, but the way it pulls data, I came to know about that like last time when I was searching some factors about supply chain in e-commerce industry, and I came to know that they links you to multiple websites and reports as well in the same industry, which you can download for free then. So
Here's
that is like,
here's here's the big problem. If you're someone like me, and I suspect like you can start searching on that, and suddenly 4 hours go by, and you don't even realize it because you get so deep into it.
yeah, definitely. Kind of playing with numbers and data and studying the past and then forecasting future. This is something like you feel really connected with. So we are a bit limited with time. So I have one final question for you, which I was kind of looking a lot in your multiple talks as well. So I wanted to learn about your entrepreneurial life, and that is something that most of the entrepreneurs are really kind of feeling challenged with, like when a company or when an entrepreneur is like starting to create goals or develop a clarity around his goals. So like for future, what kind of flexibility we have to maintain to adapt to new changes, and what kind of rigid points we should have in our goals so that we can continue kind of our journey, because most of the time people get kind of scattered from the path. Like they see one shiny thing and they get attracted to that, and then they shift back. So what is kind of your study around that, around your life, because you have spent life trying new things and making new and developing new things.
I I love this business. As I said, I think it's the best in the world. But I cannot let that take my focus off of the most important thing about it, and that is make money. That's why we're doing this, to make money. One of the best things any entrepreneur can do when they start out is just take a piece of paper, write in big letters, make money, and put it on the wall in front of them, in front of the desk. Why do I say that? In Amazon, particularly in the world of Amazon gurus, um, they'll often reframe what success is. I have heard again and again, it's okay to lose money on your first product. Everyone loses money on your first product. You're not going to make money your first year of PPC. Um, your first product is for learning. If you're breaking even, you're good. If you keep on, don't quit, and eventually you'll get organic ranking. I've had conversations with people who have told me, how is it going? Oh, it's really good. We're getting the buy box almost 90% of the time. We're not making any profit, but this year, we expect we're going to make profit. And so, no, getting the buy box, that's great. That's not success. Making money is success. Having 1,001 reviews, that's great, but that's not success. Making money is success. Being an 8-figure seller is not success if you're selling 8 figures worth of products, but you're putting $14 into your pocket at the end of the year. That's not success. Success is making money. Don't let anyone distract you from that, because if you get distracted by that, you won't make money. And the reason they want you distracted from that is so that you think you're successful with this person's strategy or that person's strategy or this program or that YouTube person. And everyone is like, the moment that you hear people talking about being an 8-figure seller or a 7-figure seller, congratulate them, but follow it up asking, how much profit did you make?
Yeah.
That's what you want to know, because that's what you want to do. So put that sign up, make money. If you're not choosing products that are profitable, choose other products. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of products. If you're spending tons of money on PPC and getting the buy box and trying to get all of these wonderful reviews, but you're not making money, take a step back and say, I'm here to make money. I mean, this, and we've been using this as an example. This is not sexy. It's not exciting, but I paid for it. So do thousands of other people. So you don't have to get the most exciting product. You don't have to boast to your friends about, oh, I made a lot of money with a toilet plunger. A toilet plunger. That's nothing exciting about that. But I knew how to differentiate it so people could buy it. Um, make money. If there's one thing, absolutely, all of your goals, it has to be make money. Now, how do you do that? Profitable products, very good marketing and sales. We didn't talk about it, but branding, and then understand how you can take this and scale it and grow it. Make those plans, and then cooperate or partner with your supplier. When you talk to a supplier in China who's been working with someone for 5, 6, 7 years, they're not even going to say we've worked with Joe for 5 years. They're going to say we've cooperated with Joe for 5 years. That's their business culture. They want to cooperate with you. So make your plans, know how to scale, know how to grow, and you can work with your supplier on that. Please, please, please try to work with a factory, not a trading company. But always sit down at your desk, look at the wall above your computer, and read those 2 words, make money. Don't get off that path. Don't get distracted. Make money.
Perfect, perfect. I think that was like a really great sum up discussion around the whole topic, and kind of, came people must have came to know about new things from this podcast. Any final word that you want to put through my podcast for the audience?
Oh, absolutely. If anyone is considering going to the Canton Fair, and if you don't know what that is, it's the world's largest exposition of products, suppliers, factories. If anyone's considering going to the Canton Fair, I would ask you to come take a look at our program. It is Canton Fair 2023.com, Canton Fair 2023.com. It's an incredible opportunity, whether you come with a group or not. Try to put it in your plans. At one point, it will change your business tremendously.
Great. And is it happening right now, or
It's happening in October and April every year. So this October, it will start, I believe, the 15th or 17th. There
yeah,
are
15?
so many products that they build it at the 3 phases. The first phase is consumer electronics, chemicals, machinery, and things like that. Second phase is consumer goods. That's what most people sell on Amazon, pets and housewares, kitchenware, and so on. Third phase is, and each one's about a week or so long. Third phase is textile, home textiles, apparel, shoes, and bags of sporting equipment. So it's easy. You can just research it. Google is your friend. And here's an interesting thing to think about, just as a crazy thing when you makes your mind explode. Most everyone will tell you that if you go to China and you visit your factory, you're going to save about 20% off your cost just because you visit it and they know they take you seriously and they have that relationship. That is wonderful. But if that happens so often, that means that most people, no matter what tricks and tips they may have heard from people on YouTube or in courses, that they're still leaving 20% of the money on the table because those tips and tricks don't work. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 20% to give to you just for being a nice person who visited. So do your research, partner with your suppliers, understand what you're doing, make sure it's a product customers want, and those 2 words, make money. It sounds complex. It's not. And as I said, it's the best job in the world.
Perfect. Steven, I think it was overall like a very great discussion on this, and definitely I will put a link of the Canton Fair in the chat as well, so that people can kind of reach out directly there and join that program. Because I personally think when you are there on the ground and talking with the people, you can make a lot better deals than just kind of communicating from a very distant place online. So thank you, Steven, for joining the podcast. And I still have like 2 to 3 more topics to discuss with you, but just we are limited with time, so we will keep this for
We'll
another
have to
discussion.
get together another time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, and have a great day to you.
You too. Thank you for having me on.
Bye.